This is real downtown Casablanca. I think they're pets and maybe they're lunch too, but I think they're pets. It could be like a giant paperweight. It really is the most intriguing, mesmerizing destination. They harp on endlessly about Marrakesh, which has really become like this Disneyland destination now of the Arab world. And they forget that Casablanca was built as the creme de la creme, the greatest jewel really of French colonial might. And it still is a jewel. It's covered in sort of a layer of grime, but it really is a jewel. We're in the Medina of Casablanca, which is the oldest part of town, and it predates the French, so it's more than 120 or 130 years old. And it's full of fabulous little hotels and bustle and stalls selling roast chicken and bread and all kinds of stuff. And it's a part of town that is unknown to even people who live outside the Medina. If you live in the suburbs, you generally don't come into this part of town. My test of a real Medina, a real old city in Morocco, is whether you can buy underpants. And look, there's just a fantastic range here of underpants.
Why is that your test though? Why
because it means
buying tagines and metalwork?
Because it means there's no tourist kitsch. If you can buy underpants and like Reebok, fake Gucci underpants, this is the real thing. In Marrakesh or Fez, the water sellers who you used to find all over Morocco, now they're just posing really for pictures and they don't actually sell any water at all. But in Casablanca, like down here in the old city, the Medina, the water sellers are really selling water. Traffic sometimes is just, you just have to wing it.
Do you
I think this is probably a one-way street. Is it? Sorry.
You think it is?
I think it probably is. If this is Marrakesh, it would be full of tourists with sun cream covered all over them, and it's not, because it's Casablanca, so it's people eating snails, enjoying a day out. We're on the western edge of Casablanca, right near where we live, on the coast. And we're at a shrine called Sidi Abdurrahman. It's the shrine of a Sufi saint. And no one really seems to know very much about him. But what happens is, in Casablanca, if you get spooked by a djinn or a genie, or they call it jinnoon, or if you have a problem in your life, you come here and you spend some time in seclusion, or you visit one of the witches who's living right up there on the sort of agglomeration of little white buildings, and you get your fortune told and you get healed. It's high tide, so you have to wade across, I'm afraid.
You better show me how.
Thank you. I sent a friend of mine here because she wanted to see a witch, and she's an American. And no, it all came down to a problem with the money, with the price. I did just, yeah. It should be alright. I was just going to get my fortune read by one of the witches, and she didn't take kindly to the idea of a camera.
The level of superstition is kind of astonishing.
It is, and really Morocco it's an incredibly superstitious country. Partly because it's a Muslim country, but partly because its roots go down deep into Africa. So overlaid on top of the Islamic thing, you have African belief, which is one of the added bonuses of Morocco. You get this amazing belief in in spirits and all kinds of things. Marché Central, the central market in Casablanca, is the best place for a fish lunch. But strangely, in some of the restaurants, you have to actually bring your own fish. Vous avez calamar? Calamar. I've never actually bought calamar before. I've never bought squid, but I hear this is the best place to buy it. How many do you buy? One or?
I think two.
Slice them and fry them.
Yeah.
For frire. It's almost 1:30, and this is like the cut-off point of buying fish. After 1:30, no one buys any fish. So like the bottom goes out of the market. It's all about the negotiation before the meal. Who's going to give the best price? Good. The calamari. The important thing with this market and the restaurants here is rich people come here, poor people come here. It's affordable and the quality is incredibly high. So you find all kinds of Moroccans sitting down together and eating. The thing to remember is, in Casablanca, no one really ever buys anything new. You just buy second-hand stuff. And so if you need a bath, you come here and you tell all your friends that you went to a fancy store and bought a brand new bath. But really, you just buy an old bath and clean it up. We've bought so much stuff for our house from here. The junkyard is called Spooked and it's in an area, a lower middle class area called Hey Hassani. Look, I mean, this catches my eye. These are roller blinds from a 1930s villa, and we bought a lot of these, and then you get them cut down and reinstalled. And just incredible things like this. Wrought iron gates, which in the junkyard cost almost nothing at all. Doors, windows, sinks, fabulous furniture, and it's sort of a lot of architectural salvage as well. When I first moved to Casablanca and I got a wheel clamp, I had a full, total frenzy meltdown because I thought, like in England, it was the end of my life. But here in Casablanca, if you get a wheel clamp, it's not taken very seriously. It only costs like £2 to get it off, and the guy will come and do it. He's just over there and he's going to come and do it now. And that's the great thing about Casablanca. Nothing's taken so seriously. Can I borrow 40 dirhams from you? We're in the old Catholic cemetery, which is on what was on the outskirts of Casablanca, and it's where most of the French colonials were buried. It really has quite a desolate atmosphere, as if nobody really gives a damn about it or about these people who are buried here, and in a way that's quite sad. You just feel like this is a part of Casablanca's history, and Casablanca's moved on and doesn't really care about the people buried here.
Plus que 50,000.
50,000?
50,000.
500,000 people buried.
Il y a les Français, les Anglais.
Les Anglais?
Un seul Anglais.
There's one Englishman buried in the cemetery called John Chew. Sounds a little bit chew as in chew food. And he's from Preston, Lancashire, and he died March the 15th, 1926. But everyone else buried here is French, really, in these big communal mausolea. And some of them are outrageously over the top and grand. What's incredible here is just the sense of peace in a city that's usually in this frenzied state, raging forward. And I mean, I guess as you'd expect in Casablanca's old French cemetery, there's silence, utter silence. And we're just near the great mosque and just on the edge of the ocean. It's wonderful.